January the 29th, ferns. Bracken Pteridium aquilinum is now looking quite dead, but still retains its handsome deep russet colour. Many other wild ferns are looking fresher, and some may even be producing their dusty spores from the underside of their leaves, for example, the hartstone fern, Philolitis scolopendrium, and Polypodium vulgare. In damp woods, the large, open, bright green fronds of the broad buckler fern, Dryopteris austriaca, stand out set high on their rootstocks. Although the fronds of the male fern, Dryopteris felixmas, are much more common. A wider range of other ferns are to be found in gardens, some braving the elements better than others. Nowadays, there are a few places to see outdoor collections, although a collection of hardy ferns can be enjoyed at the Savile Gardens, including an impressive evergreen species, Blechnum tabulare. It was during the Victorian period that many different varieties of fern were planted en masse in rockeries and in miniature ravines, but virtually none of these survive, and such garden practice is currently very much out of fashion. However, some interesting varieties of our wild ferns can still be seen in the Chelsea Physic Garden. For example, the plumosum variety of the soft shield fern and the Namocrustatum variety of the hartstone fern. Other interesting hardy ferns there include the shuttlecock-shaped Dryopteris cycadina from Japan and Woodwardia unigemata from the Himalayas, which can grow up to 10 feet in height. Not for the faint-hearted, but the tiniest of young ferns can be found this month, perhaps just 1 or 2 millimeters high. They grow out of tiny heart-shaped structures called prothalae, where a fern sperm has reached a fern egg. They are not easy to find where other ferns are growing, but do occasionally occur in numbers in such places as the bases of wet Molinia grass clumps in the boggy area just below Jack Straw's Castle on Hampstead Heath. Lichens. About 1/2 of London's lichens are found in cemeteries, even the quite central Brompton Cemetery having some unusual species. Churchyards are among the best hunting grounds, where the tombstones provide a wide range of different substrates fitting the various requirements of different species. Also, birds often perch on tombstones, leaving their nitrogen-rich droppings, which then encourages even more species. Mickleham Churchyard near Box Hill is particularly rich, having dozens of species, and St Andrew's in Totteridge has over 20. Churchyards are good places to get to know some of London's most common lichens, especially those with different colours, that are so noticeable on tombs and headstones. Invariably, these seem to be orange disc, of which Xanthoria paratina is one of the most common and eye-catching. West Norwood Cemetery has 3 more Xanthoria species: Xanthoria calcicola, which tends to be a deeper orange, Xanthoria candelaria, a darker orange or yellow-orange, and Xanthoria polycarpa, which varies from grey to yellow-orange. Other orange lichens that are common are the caloplacas, especially Caloplaca citrina, which can vary from bright orange to greenish yellow. Kensal Rise is good for lichens, hosting 4 more species: Caloplaca flavescens and Caloplaca flavocentrina, which are both orange. Caloplaca decipiens, which varies from light yellow to a brownish orange, and Caloplaca colita, which varies from white to a bluish grey. Candelarias stand out due to some of them looking like scattered mustard powder. Candelariella stand out due to some of them looking like scattered mustard powder. Candelariella orella is probably the most common, along with Candelaria vitalina, but 2 more can be found in Brompton Cemetery: Candelariella medians and Candelariella reflexa, which are more of a true yellow rather than mustard. Lecanora species are also common, but less noticeable due to their grey or pearly colouring. They also can look just like powder covering the surface of a headstone. Lecanora dispersa is probably the most common. It is either a very light grey or white. Lecanora albescens is pure white. Lecanora campestris and Lecanora campalens are both grey, and Lecanora muralis and Lecanora conazioides are more of a greenish grey. All of these can be found in Nunhead Cemetery. Fiskia species are also grey, but look like tiny grey flattened seaweeds with slightly raised edges or lobes. Fiskia adascendens, one of the most common species, is loosely attached to tombstones, with slightly hooded lobes and marginal bristles. Fiskia caesia is a handsome bluish matte grey, but more attached to the stone it sits on. Fiskia tenella is very like Fiskia adascendens, but the ends of its lobes are more turned back, revealing a creamy colour. All three of these lichens can be found in Abney Park Cemetery. One of the first things you notice when entering churchyards are tombstones that look as if they've been slashed with either white or grey or even paint or even tar, perhaps all three. These are often species of Vericaria, which, like so many other lichens, are notoriously difficult to identify to species. There are 6 in Highgate Cemetery. Vericaria nigricens, which is usually black but can be chocolate brown. It can even look like cracked old dried paint. Vericaria eliina is usually white. Vericaria baldensis, the palest grey. Vericaria glaucina, lead grey, and Vericaria hochsteteri, a greyish brown or greyish red. And Vericaria macrostoma, more of a tan or olive green. These colours are more of a pointer, as many lichens not only exist in different colour forms, but also change colour when wet or in shady conditions. Among the most attractive lichens are the Peltigra species, which includes the dog lichen, Peltigra membranacea. At the edge of its thalli, where they curl up, white threads hang down. In the past, these were thought to look like teeth, and according to the old belief of the doctrine of signature, plants gave some visual indication as to what they might be useful for medicinally. Consequently, it was decided long ago that this particular lichen was good cure for rabies. 2 species, Peltigra didactyla and Peltigra lactucifolia, can be found in West Norwood Cemetery. Each are common as a very impressive species list, including lichens which look like dried seaweeds. Peltigra didactyla is particularly common. The fairy club lichens, Cladonia species, are regarded by many as the most attractive of all lichens, especially with their sealing wax red tips at the end of small green powdered stems. These take a little more finding, some being confined to the acid heaths of southwest London, such as Cobham Common. Fungi. Fungi are not much in evidence this month, except for old decaying brackets on trees. Those that sometimes make a brief appearance include sulphur tuft, tripe fungus, herald of the winter, velvet shank, coral spot, and the oyster mushroom. There will be several others if the month is a mild one, especially on rotting wood. One edible species that can be quite common is Jewsia, Auricularia auriculata, Auricularia auricula judai. Although usually found on elder, it can also be found on old dead sycamores in our area. It has been ignored in the past, but is now popular among the Chinese community, who appreciate its smooth texture and rubbery consistency in stir-fries and soups. The similar-looking and closely related wood ear, Auricularia cornea, can be found dried on sale in Chinese supermarkets. It has been suggested the English name, which has caused offence, should be changed to jelly ear, as it is one of the jelly fungi. However, the folklore connection is to Julius Iscariot, who was thought to have hung himself on an elder tree, leaving just his ears to remind us of his fate. Much more noticeable than fungi on the wooden floor are the witches' brooms on birch trees. These look like round tangled messes of deformed twigs, sporadically along the branches. They are caused by a fungus, Tophrina turgida, on the silver birch and Tophrina betulina on the downy birch. Witches' broom was believed to be the place where witches spontaneously generated themselves.